Yeah.
or wait for the rest?
Yeah, I went ahead and hit the record button so you can start.
Okay, it's okay. Before we start, I'd love just to share with you something about the prophets. I know that you know what we mean by the prophets. These are the prophets mentioned in the Quran. And Quran, we are going to explain to you what is Quran as the book which was sent to Muhammad, the prophet of, that was sent, the last prophet or the messenger. As you can see here, we have Adam till Muhammad. This is the tree or of the prophet mentioned in the Holy Quran. Okay, it is called the Quran or the book for Muslim people. And here, I'd love just to mention something that Islam as a word is totally different from the perspective of people. All over the people, they may have a wrong idea about the definition of Islam. And as a religion, we will take the definition of this religion from the Quran. From the source, from the book. It's not my definition. Unfortunately, I'm going to talk about this later on. The translation, that is it in English. I have a Quran in English, and I read it in French. By the way, I can speak this kind of languages, and I make a comparison between the Arabic as a source language of the Quran and other translations. Unfortunately, it's to some extent not correct translation, and I'm going to give you proofs and evidences from the Quran and the meaning of the words in Arabic and their translation, which was mistranslated and misinterpreted. So, as you see, this is just, the introduction to know some names here.
Can I stop you? Can I stop you real quick?
Yeah, of course, I'm going to give, okay.
Yeah.
Whenever you have something to say, to interrupt, to comment, to ask a question, you're welcome. If you want to start asking right now, if you have any questions, I can take them. If I mention something that is not clear, please say it, because I'm just making an introduction before we start the presentation. And whenever you have anything to say, just say it. You're welcome.
Okay. I was just making sure that you hadn't pulled your PowerPoint up yet. I didn't want you to be giving your PowerPoint and then we not being able to see it. So.
Okay. Don't you see the PowerPoint now? Because I share it with you.
No, I see your like Windows screen.
I'm sorry again. Yeah. Okay, I thought it's there. I'm going to share it again.
Yeah, it was showing your files and
there
we go.
And now?
Mm-hmm.
Is it there?
It is.
I'm sorry. I do apologize again because I thought it's there because I see it in my screen. I thought that everybody can see it there. Okay, this is the tree of prophets or messengers that were sent by Allah, God. Allah is, in Arabic, is God. And these prophets and messengers, we can start from the beginning of the creation. And you know the story of creation, how it did start with Adam till Muhammad, the last prophet. So we are not waiting for other prophets in the future. Okay, this is the last one. Okay, according to the Quran. I'm talking to you from the perspective of Muslim people, but I am not going to be that kind of people because I know that a lot of people have wrong ideas about Islam as a religion. I'm going to explain things clearly from the book and to my knowledge, what I know as a researcher. Okay, here, as I said, I will move to the definition of, okay, here we can have an idea about the spread of Islam. As you see here, which was, it was sent to Arabs, and you can see the map here. Byzantine Empire, Frankish kingdoms, and so on. And this is the area in green, which was under Islam. What is the Quran? We are going to move now to the terminology to define some terms, because I know that a lot of people just hear of words and they don't know their meanings. I was recently surprised surprised because I met some students and I start talking to them. And when I introduced myself as Muhammad, and I say, my name is Muhammad, and I was stopped by someone. Okay, I still remember. One of the students told me that, sir, why is Muhammad? I was surprised because I thought that people know what the meaning of Muhammad. I said, do you know Islam? She told me, yes. And when I say Muhammad is the prophet who was sent to Muslim people, I was surprised, by the way. Okay. What is the Quran or the book? Is the Islamic sacred book, the word of God as dictated to Muhammad by the angel Gabriel and written down in Arabic. And this is the difference. It is in Arabic, and Arabic, we know some characteristics of language of Arabic. It's totally different from other languages. That's why, as I mentioned before, it was not translated correctly. And the Quran as a book consists of 114 units, which is called in Arabic surah, a unit. And each surah or each unit consists of verses. And each unit, as you see the title of the unit, I mean, the title of the unit or the surah, for example, you can see the cow, you can see, the opening, you can see the Imran family. These are the units. Each unit has different stories. It's not about one story. As we know in literature, for example, or in short stories, novels, we have, for example, the title of the book. So the book is going to talk about this story. No, here we can have one unit with multiple stories, different stories there. The first surah is said as a part of the ritual prayer. Okay, it's always used as the opening of the book or the Quran. We always use it in the prayer. And the prayer, as a prayer or salah in Arabic, is one of the pillars of believing in Muhammad. Okay, that was new. For Arab people. These touch up in all aspects of human existence, including matters of doctrine, social organization, and legislation. Okay, this is the meaning of the Quran. What I mentioned before is the interpretation of Quran. It's he who revealed to you the book. This is again taken, as you see, it's taken from the book, from the Quran. It's he who revealed to you the book. Some of its verses are definitive, they are the foundation of the book, and others are unspecific. As you see here, I make the sentence in red, which is, this is my concern here. This is why I want to tell you about the Quran. Before we start the Quran interpretation, no one can tell us the interpretation except God and those firmly rooted in knowledge. And when I say those firmly rooted in knowledge, it's a group. It's not one. We cannot say one scientist. To understand the Quran as a whole can be understood if we have biologist, mathematician, linguist, doctor, astronaut, and so on. So to understand the meaning of some verses, not all the Quran, because we need to have, this is from the Quran. If you want to understand it, we need to have this kind of people. And unfortunately for the translator, who translated it to English or French, he is just a linguist, he's interested in languages, but he may, miss some meanings of some verses or units. So this is the start. The start, we take into consideration that the whole Quran is known by Allah or God, and those people, those scholars, those scientists who are rooted in knowledge. What is Islam? A lot of people ask this question. Imagine even in Muslim areas, when I say Islam, they think that Islam was the religion that is for Muslims, for Arab people. But this is a wrong idea, absolutely. Here, I can say the definition of Islam from the Quran, and the Quran is that book was sent by Allah. It's not as Mohammed, Bouknify, as you see me. It's not me who is giving you this definition. It's taken from the Quran. We say the Quran did not limit Islam to the followers of the Prophet Muhammad at all. And this is what a lot of people think. They think that Islam is only for Prophet Muhammad's followers. The Quran applied Islam to those messengers and their followers who preceded them. We can say Almighty God, Allah, wouldn't demand from the human being to be a Muslim without explaining how to be a Muslim. So we can find this in the Quran from the definitions we have here. I'm going to show you some verses. Okay, I can read to you just one in Arabic, just to have an idea about how do we recite the Quran in Arabic. In Arabic, it's totally different from English. For example, وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِّمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ قل إنما يوحى إلي أنما إلهكم إله واحد فهل أنتم مسلمون. Okay, this is the reading. This is how we can read in the Holy Quran. We have very specific, methods of reading or reciting the Quran. It's not as we are reading Arabic as standard Arabic or other languages. And the translation of these are, who is better in speech than one who calls men to Allah, works righteousness, and says, I am here, the who bow in Islam. Say what has come to me by inspiration is that Allah is one, Allah. Will you therefore bow to his will? And the second one, I believe that there is no God except him, whom the children of Israel believe in. I am of those who submit to Allah in Islam. And the last definition is, the last verse is, O Lord, make us Muslims, bowing to your will, and our progeny of people Muslim. This is taken from the surahs or the units of the Quran. The first one is explained, the second one is the prophets, the third one is Jonah, and the last one is the call. So these are taken from the Quran. What do you understand from this translation or from these verses? We understand that Islam is, without doubt, the faith in, or the faith that assents to the existence of one God, the last day, and combining this assent with doing what is right. Okay, righteousness. Three things are not only sent to Muhammad as a prophet for Arab people. It is from Adam to Moses to Jesus to other prophets. The most important thing in their messages, in their books, were three things. Number one, you believe, or you faith in the existence of God, the last day, and you do good, you do the right things. Three things. These are the pillars of Islam. To illustrate more, I will go to another verse from the Quran, which is, as you see it here, in Arabic, its translation is, those who believe in the Quran and those who follow the Jewish scriptures and the Christians and the Sabians and any who believe in Allah and the last day and work righteousness. As you see, I highlight these words. You can find who are the believers. The believers are those who believe in Muhammad and the Quran. And who are the follower of the Jewish? The people who believe in scriptures. And the Christians. The Christians, those who believe in Jesus. The Jewish, those who believe in Moses. And the Sabians are anyone who believes in Allah, the last day, and does work, or their work is right. Is right. So the righteousness, the last day, believing in Allah, three things there are three pillars of Islam. So Islam is not a religion that was sent for Arab only. I mean this, the broad meaning of Islam was sent from Adam till Muhammad, and each prophet was sent for a specific objective, for specific area and specific era or age. And here you notice that the definition of Islam as a term. We know with certainty that Islam is, in its general meaning, embraces every religious community whose followers are committed to faith in God, faith in the last day, and the righteous deeds. And this agrees with what we said previously, that the religion of God is one, and it is Islam. So Islam starts with Adam to Moses to Jesus to Muhammad. But each prophet has his own message. And as a term umbrella, they all came into humanity with Islam as a religion. We are going, okay, one of you, I know that we have these pillars of Islam. One of you might ask question or may wonder and say, why Muhammad was sent as a prophet? Some might go further and say that God has sent the prophets and messengers to all people before, so Arab people were angry and they wanted their prophet as the last messenger or the cell messenger as it's mentioned in the Quran. No. Here, I'm going to show you that and explain to you that the Muhammad was sent as he mentioned here. We have here the pillars of Islam. Muhammad answers this question and he says, I have been appointed as a prophet of God for the completion and the perfection of moral ethics. We can say here the era starts, a new era starts with Muhammad to reorganize the societies and to focus on moral ethics. And here I will take this from the Quran. This is taken from the Quran. What I mean by this ethics, here Muhammad and absolute taboos that were prohibited for people. I mean, he was sent to prohibit some things here. Almighty God enumerates and compiles in his word, say, come, I will rehearse what Allah has really prohibited you from. Join not anything as equal with Allah. Be good to your parents. Kill not your children. We provide assistance for you and for them. Come not near to shameful deeds. Take not life, mean don't kill people. With Allah has made sacred except by the way justice and law. Thus does he command you that may learn wisdom. And come not near to the orphan's property. As you see, all these things are in red. We are going to explain them. And these are the absolute taboos that were prohibited, I mean, by Allah. And they were that was the message sent to Muhammad. For example, number one, do not join any partner with Allah. This is called shirk. And this is one of the pillars we have also in Islam. Okay, we believe in Allah alone. So we don't share any God with them. So we say this is taken again from the Holy Quran. These verses and many others confirm that Allah or God has forbidden turning towards others in worship or prayer. Okay, so the things that you worship beside Allah have no power to give you sustenance. So as you read these verses, you can see that Allah is one, and we don't need to have other things that, I mean, he's saying that if we worship other things beside Allah, they have no power to give us, and they seek no assistance from Allah. Serve him, be grateful to Allah, to him, and we will be returned. This is again from the Quran. I have them in Arabic from the Quran, but I relied on the translation to make things clear for you, because this is the most important for us to know the core of the message. Okay, the second one is do good to your parents. Of course, when we talk about parents, we have here, they have very important, position in our society, in the Arab community. Of course, even all over the world, if you go to talk about your parents, it's mentioned after Allah. As you see, even the order we have, you believe in Allah alone, directly you will find parents. You see that, I mean, the position of parents in Islam. Okay, we have do good your parents. Respect for parents is deeply rooted value in humanity, in human nature, and it is the nature of human being to reverse his parents in appreciation, gratitude, and thankfulness, of course, for what they made in raising and caring for him or for her. So Allah draws his satisfaction from their satisfaction. This is not my word, this is from the Quran. To show the importance of respect for parents in the Islamic religion, where the authoritative revelation shows in detail how to show respect for parents by doing good to them, as the words show, as I mentioned this before in this verses, as you see here. Then we have number 3 is come not near to the orphan's property. After the parent, we find someone against social, a very, very important thing in the society, which is orphans. Orphans, we have not, okay, we don't have to come near to the orphan's property. Their properties should be respected. Why? Because the orphan is an inseparable part of our society, and thus he or she has a special status in Islam, a special position in this religion, for its commands that he is cared for, treated well, and the object of good deeds. This is why we need to take into consideration that come not near to the orphan's property except to improve it. This is from the Quran. If you want to come near to his or her property, please just to improve it, not to steal it, because we can see this in our societies. And I am so sure and certain that you know these things in the society and the social problems we have that may be related to selling things related to orphans, because his youth and the orphan is weak until he reaches the age of full strength. That is the age of maturity and becomes capable of caring for himself and conducting himself and responsibility for what he is or for what he owns, whether in inheritance, bequest, or something else. So Islam calls for only approaching the property of an orphan in a friendly manner. Then another example is give measures and weights with full justice. Again, justice is very important component of Arabic or Arabic culture and civilization. It's there, and because it's a part of our religion. You give measures and weights with full justice. The human soul of human nature, it's the fulfillment in every matter, since the Islamic religion is a religion that is based on human values. As I mentioned in the Prophet Muhammad's saying, when he said he was sent for the completion of ethics and human values, equity, fidelity, altruism, cooperation, coexistence, love, all these qualities are very essential in Islam. So here we talk about justice. It should be there because as you see here, these qualities I am talking about, during the age when Muhammad was sent, there was some problems in Arab society. This kind of cheating, stealing, robbing things, don't respect the orphans' properties. And when Muhammad was sent, he was sent to adjust things and to prohibit this kind of behaviors that were, spread during that period of time. So to achieve social justice, the individuals of the society must show fidelity in all their deeds, that's finishing and completing them in the best way. And thus equity is wherein in the sense of giving each his right or her right. Do not bear false witness. Of course, don't say something that is not true. Don't lie. Don't lie to people. This is bear witness. Justice in all things is one of the foundations of the righteous deed in Islam. One of those things is speech. And the Muslim is characterized by truthfulness. If he says something, it must be true. Unfortunately, this is the foundation of Islam, of our religion. But unfortunately, I'm saying, unfortunately, nowadays, a lot of people, Arab people, they give a wrong idea about our religion. Okay? They gave a lot of examples of their being not true, because truthfulness is very, very essential part of our religion. So if a Muslim says something, he is truthful in what he says. even about himself. Therefore, false witness is considered unacceptable among Muslims, for it is incompatible with human nature. So I am saying what Islam says, or what Islam brought to our society, to humanity, it is something. But nowadays, and we have a lot of circumstances that, I mean, let or push people to make these wrong deeds, which are not acceptable. Maybe they can, I mean, they give a wrong idea about a certain group of people. And you know what I mean when we talk about certain group of people. And I know, I take it for consideration. If I ask anyone about Islam, I can say more than 50%, 60%, they can say Muslim people, liars, terrorists, and so on and so on. So those are not representing Islam at all, because every human being has his own personality, his own education, his own background, his own values, if he has or she has values, and he should not say something that is not related to our religion. Religion, if you want to know about it, go read about it and ask people who represent it the correct way. So this is why I want to say here, what we have in reality can mislead you, can misguide you. I mean, it's not always true. So what is between the banks of the book and the interpretation of this book is the most important thing. And I can assure you that there are a lot of people with these values. They will never lie to you. They will never cheat you. They will never look you down. They will never, I mean, hurt you. And this is, again, as a human being, religion. It's not only related to Muslims. Okay? Here, take not life. Don't kill people. This is another issue here, because during the age when, I mean, the Islam was sent, people used to kill each other. Can you imagine that a lot of people kill their, I mean, their children? There was I don't know if you heard of the stories during, I mean, the age of Moses. They used to kill boys and keep the girls alive. And again, before Muhammad arrived, just before he arrived, people in those areas used to kill girls and keep the boys alive. So, as a Quran, as a book, as the teachings of and the orders of Allah, don't kill your children. Don't kill people. God forbid the killing of a human soul in verse 15 of the Surah Al-An'am, of the cattle, which was dedicated to the absolute tablets. He stressed its forbidden character twice. I mean, that's why he stressed it 2 times. Don't kill, it means don't kill. So, and he prohibited from, he said, again, the description of the act, take not life with God, which God has made sacred. It is a sacred, I mean, soul for Allah. Do not come near what we have here. I'm sorry. The deeds, I mean, the shameful deeds, whether open or in secret. Shameful deeds are not encouraged in Islam. What we mean by shameful deeds? Okay, the term shameful deeds, or al-fawahish, is the plural of the term prostitute. This is the general meaning. And we here, when you get into details, you can explain what we mean by fahisha, or what we mean by prostitute, what we mean by shameful deeds, all those deeds that are not accepted by the society. And it means what is the soul despises, and that is what the sound human nature, which is not aroused by disorder, disbrains. These are open and secret, shameful deeds. So they are not acceptable. They are not accepted, be I mean, open or secret. The secret, for example, are sexual relations on a sound basis. If the society does not know, I'm sorry, if the society does not know them, whether between a man or a woman, then okay, there is a relationship between a married woman and man who is not her husband, sexual relationship between two people and the same sex. So such homosexual relationship between two men, two women, these are not accepted. And this is why was sent in the Quran in the verse I mentioned before. Forbidden to you, food. When we talk again about food, you can find some things that are forbidden. The dead animals, it's forbidden to eat dead animals. Some people can ask you, okay, they asked me when I arrived to Bluefield last month, it means just 2 months here in Bluefield. And the first thing I did, I went to supermarket. I asked about halal food. I mean food for Muslims. What I mean by halal food, it doesn't mean that your food is not good. I'm not talking about that. I mean, some kind of food for Muslims is not allowed, is prohibited. We say, for example, the dead animals. It doesn't mean that you are eating the dead animals. I mean, the way you slaughter, the way you kill animals, I mean, sheep, cows, chickens, is not the same way we did, like we do in Arab, in our religion. Okay, so here they use electricity to kill them. There we don't. So this is for us. This is called dead animals. I mean, this is another the way you slaughter them is totally different. That's why we don't eat them. So for the dead animals, we know what I mean by the dead animals are not allowed to eat. Blood to drink, no. The flesh of swine also forbidden. The word, okay, God lists the forbidden food. If you read through the paragraph, you see that the animal, blood, the flesh, swine, and that on which has been invoked the name of other than Allah, that which has been killed. What I mean by here in Arab societies, in the past, there was some people who kill an animal and they name it not in the name of Allah, they name it, for example, to someone. I mean, because people used to worship, stones, to worship fire, to worship things, objects from the nature. For example, one person, for example, can kill a chicken, or can kill sheep and name it to the moon or to the, for example, to the sun, taking into consideration that the sun is very powerful thing. It's something that is powerful. They worship it. So for Allah, this is not halal. It's forbidden. You are not allowed to eat these animals that you invoke in the name other than Allah. That which has been killed by strangling, and you know, animals when they hit each other, strangling each other, and when one sheep kills another, you are not allowed. You are forbidden to eat it because it's considered dead animal. So these are some, just the details explaining what I mean by dead animals. Okay, here just to talk about this verse, explain which food are permitted and which are not permitted from the Quran. As I mentioned, you eat what is on earth, it's lawful. Everything that is, plants, everything that is on earth, it's lawful for you if you want to eat it. Fruits, vegetables, and so on and so on. Okay, suicide, again, it's not allowed. It's forbidden. Okay, it's prohibited. We find in verse 29 in the Surah of Women that Allah nor kill or destroy yourselves. For indeed, Allah has been to you most merciful. This is the verse from the Quran. So we don't need to, we must not destroy ourselves or kill ourselves. This requires a full of clarification. This can lead us to killing yourself. It can lead us to wine and gambling. And some people can say, why is wine prohibited? We can say, for Allah said, God Almighty had this to say about wine and gambling. And if I ask anyone, reasonable person, what do you gather, what do you gain from wine and gambling? They ask you concerning wine and gambling, say, in them a great sin. Okay, look at the highlight word, great sin, and some profits. for men, I mean for men and women. Men, it's capitalized. But the sin is greater than the prophet. This is from the Quran. Since the sin is greater, Allah gives the opportunity. It's not here. Look at here. If it's not said that it's prohibited, you need to stop it. He gives you the choice. Look, here is the sin. For wine and gambling, there is a lot of sin and some profit. But for the sin, is greater than the profit. And you, as the legislation and authority, I mean people, I mean your country, in the new meaning of the country, of the state, with your laws, with your regulations, you need to regulate things. You want to allow people, you allow them. But you see, Allah made it clear from the beginning. The sin is greater than the profit. Pay attention. Approach, but don't approach to prayer. I mean, don't do your prayers in a mind that is before. I mean, you are drunk. Don't approach to prayers. Why? Because you will not understand what you are saying. Your mind is not there. When you are drunk, you cannot do your prayers. So approach not to prayers with the mind before until you can understand what you say, okay? All that you say. What can we understand from this? As I mentioned that Allah didn't prohibit you. I mean, it's if you drink wine, you will go to Jahannam, to the hell. No. Look at the verses. You can deduce the meaning. You can understand as someone, someone who understands languages, you can understand the meaning. Or you who believe, approach not to prayers with mind before until you understand what you say. What do we mean here? It is there. If you drink, please don't drink, during your prayers, or don't go to your prayers in a drunk way. So until you understand what you do, then you can go to do your prayers. Okay, this is what I mean by intoxicants and gambling also. These are not allowed. Here they are, as you see from the Quran, they are Satan's handwork. And that you may prosper. If you want to prosper, please keep avoiding things. Satan plans is to excite enmity, hatred between you. Intoxicant and gambling, as you see, we can notice in our societies, a lot of people, they can be today, we can talk about billionaires today, and tomorrow they can be homeless people because of this kind of deeds. Gambling, it's a very, very serious social problem. You can imagine this, because I know why I'm saying a lot of people with a lot of money, they have become just homeless without a penny. So this is the explaining of wine and gambling. I'm going to share this with you again. Another social aspect which is not allowed also in Islam, sarcasm and mockery. A lot of people take it, they just joking with each other, take it, seriously. In Islam, this is not allowed. Almighty God said that in the book, all you who believe, let not some men, men among you laugh at others. Someone laugh at someone. And we notice this, and nowadays we can refer to it as bullying. Okay? Bullying is a very serious problem nowadays. A lot of people just start laughing at other people, and Allah says, let not some people among you laugh at others. It may be that the latter men are better than the former. Nor let some women also laugh at others. It may be that are better than the others. So it's not allowed to laugh at each other. As you see here, Islam talks about a lot of things that are related to the society. And as I mentioned, the first message of Muhammad before the first word of Muhammad, I mean, he uttered was, I was sent to, or I was sent to complete the ethics, I mean, of humanity, to complete. What does it mean? It started in the past with Joseph, okay, with Jesus, with Moses, with Adam, with Abraham, and now this is the last message. I am going to focus on the society a lot. What's going on in the society? And as we see here, everything we mentioned here, it's there in our society, and it is also mentioned in the religion. So entering a house, you can imagine that this was okay in the past. A lot of people just go into the houses without knocking, without asking for permission. And Islam said, no. Almighty God said in the book, if you enter your house from the back, it is a virtue if you fear Allah. Enter the houses through the proper doors and fear Allah that you may prosper. And enter no houses other than your own. I mean, don't enter other houses which are not yours until you have a permission. Okay, you ask permission and salute or greet people. Try to greet people, say hi to those people there. That is the best for you in order that you may heed, okay, in Islam. So in Islam, we talk about the past and we compare it nowadays. In the past, people didn't use to respect this, I mean, these norms. They didn't respect these things we discussed here. So as a response, it was sent by Allah to Muhammad to say, this is how you can regulate the society. I am saying the new or the modern state, the modern, I mean, how to establish the new norms in the society. So people used to enter houses for, I mean, no greeting, houses, no doors, without permission. So these are some kind of regulations to adjust the human life or the social life. There is no harm for you to enter inhabited houses where you have some goods. God knows whatever you reveal or hide. Okay, God knows everything. Okay. Some general ethics to talk about finally here. General ethics we have in Islam, and this is good. Okay, courteous greeting. In Islam, we greet each other every day, every moment we meet. As you see here, we can say when greeting is offered to you, meet it with the greeting still more courteous, better than that, at least, or just say hi. If someone say good morning, how are you? You can reply and say good morning. And this is what I appreciate here in Blofeld. Cannot imagine that whenever I go to the campus, to the shopping, to the supermarket, people keep saying hi, how are you, and wishing you good day. I appreciate this because I can see in some societies, and even where I came from, some people, when you say hi or salamu alaikum, is peace be upon you, or good morning, some people reply, some people don't. But here, whenever I have never met someone who, I mean, say hi or good morning and he or she didn't reply. Okay, always with a smile, hi, how are you, and have a good day. Pardoning evil is an essential part of Islam religion. What we mean by pardoning evil here, whether you publish a good deed or cancel it or cover evil with pardon. Indeed, Allah does go. This is taken from the Quran. So we always forgive people. If someone, this is our life. If someone apologizes to you, why don't you accept the apology? As an English teacher, whenever I teach my students something like how to make apology, how to express apology in English, I have never taught them how to decline an apology. I always use accept apology, expressions of accepting apology, making apology, and no declining apology. This is the most important thing we need in our society, to pardon, to apologize, to accept each other, to coexist with each other, to love each other. And this is not Islam. This is another, okay, I can say, no, I'm not talking about Islam. I'm talking about the religion of humanity as a human being. we need to be equipped, armed with this kind of behaviors. We need this. We need to collaborate with each other well, to help each other, to listen to each other, and so on and so on. So forgiving other people, whatever the problem, try to be, that person who forgives others. And don't hold things in your heart. Okay, just say it. Express that you are for example, you are not happy with what someone did, for example, and you can just forgive each other at the end. It's okay. Not speaking evil to others. Don't say bad things about other people. This is not also accepted in Islam. For example, someone is not there, and you start telling your brother, your friend about the person in a bad thing. You can, Allah loves not evil should be noised abroad in public speech except where injustice has been done for Allah. So no way, don't waste resources. Again, you see, even the resources are taken into consideration. I don't know why people are not taking into consideration that human resources, natural resources. What kind, any resource we talk about here? Just wasting. For example, you get into a room, you switch on, for example, the light, and you went out and you forgot, for example, you forgot the light on. We should take into consideration that we don't need to waste all these resources. We need them, be it water, be it food, be it electricity, whatever it is. We should think that there are, in some parts all over the world, some people who don't have this kind of resources. So we should rationalize things the way, in a correct way. So no being stingy. We talk about being mean. People should be generous. Make not your hands tied. This is from the Quran. To your neck, this way, nor rich this way. Don't waste, and don't be mean person. Be generous, be helpful, be kind. So these are the values of Muslim people. Not being insolent, nor walk on the earth with insolence. For you cannot reign the earth, ascend, nor rich. People should be modest. Okay, simplicity and modesty are very welcome in Islam. Talking about these values, we can wonder, Muslim people or Islam, what is the opposite of Islam? This is Islam. What is the opposite of Islam? Dissent is the mean. The opposite of Islam is dissent. And when we talk about dissenting, in the case of God, it's the contrary term of Muslims is mujrim. And the translation in Arabic is a criminal. Okay, making crimes. So another umbrella term here. It means, we can say it's the opposite of what I mentioned here, but it means something else. You can have another time to talk about it, but I will just make it very clear here for you. When we dig more deeply into the text of the book, we discover that the contrary term of Islam is ijram, or crime. And here, if the popular legal term today in our society is for naming, for example, thieves, killers, rapists, criminals, this is what the opposite of Islam. These terms are totally opposite to Muslims. They are not related to Islam. Its origin is in linguistic meaning. The term mujrim, linguistically speaking, is someone who cuts off. So since in general is someone who cuts off his connection to the society. Why? He is not committed to our laws in the society, or the societal laws and regulations. So he is someone who rebels. He's someone who goes against what we have as what we set as rules. So this is what I mean by the mujrims or the dissent. Now, to make things as a summary, people, the creation of people, we have Muslims and God dissenters, two categories. Muslims are those who believe in God, the last day, the righteous deeds. God connected people, they preserve their connection with God. Who are these Muslims? We can have, number one, those who believe in Muhammad, they are believers. and Jews, those who practice Judaism, and they are followers of Moses. Christians, those who are Muslims, but they are the followers of Jesus. And Sabians are Muslim Sabians, are all those who believe in God, the last day, and do the righteous from the followers of other religious communities. So this is a short summary of what we mentioned before here. Now, someone of you can say, who are the followers of Muhammad? They are called the believers, okay, al-mu'minin. And the meaning of iman, al-mu'min, believer, and iman, the faith or the believing in the book of God. Who are the believers? We began our research for the meaning of iman by examining the book, the Quran, and we brought this definition of the believers. All you who believe, alladhina amanu, believe in Allah and His Messenger, the scripture. You believe in Allah and all the books that were sent to other messengers, and His Messenger and scripture which He sent to those before. This is from the Quran. And as believers in Muhammad, we have fear Allah and believe in His messengers, and we will bestow on you a double portion of His mercy. We will provide for you a life by which you shall walk, and so on. This is from again the Quran. Why we understand again, these are the pillars of Islam. If we went into details, you can find that the 5 pillars of iman, okay, or belief, or the faith. The 5 pillars, the 5 pillars of the followers of Muhammad are profession of faith, which is the shahada, the belief that it means that you believe that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is the messenger. So here, 5 pillars are different from the pillars of Islam. Here we talk about, besides on or along with those 3 pillars, we have 5 pillars here, which means 5 things. Plus 3, it makes 8 pillars for the believers of Muhammad. We have the profession of faith in Allah. There is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is the messenger. We have the second one is prayer, and prayer is a ritual we do every day, 5 times a day, 5 times a day. And prayer, okay, if you want to talk about how the way we pray and the method and what we say, it's something else. I cannot explain this in 1 hour or 2 hours because I'm just giving you the terms that we need to take into consideration. Alms, or we say alms, or charity, or helping poor people, or give it a name. In English, it's kind of solidarity. You need to take from your money a portion, an amount of money, and you devote it only for the needy people or the poor people. It's a must to help each other. You must provide this amount of money every year. And fasting or Ramadan, during Ramadan, we fast. We don't fast only. The problem is we don't fast only on food and water. We fast everything. We fast on not to speak, bad things or bad mouthing, not to lie, not to steal, not to do the bad, the bad or the wrong deeds. Then not to drink whatever, and not to eat whatever. Okay, just you go to work, you devote your day for worshiping and doing the right things from the morning till the evening. Then you can eat whatever you want or drink whatever you want. The last pillar is Hajj or pilgrimage. It's a ritual that we do at the end of Arab year, and it is a visit. We go to Mecca in Saudi Arabia, where we have Mecca, or that kind of house. If you see the house of Mecca, that black one, It was built by the Prophet Abraham and Ismail. So it was obligatory that for believers of Muhammad, if they have money, this is a condition. If you have money, if you can do it, you can do it once a lifetime. For pilgrimage, if you want to visit and you see, I mean, what Abraham built, Abraham and his son Ismail, what they built there, and you see, I mean, Mecca and all those things we have there, it's okay if you can do it. Now, one of you can say, teacher, what do we mean by the cow? Why do we call it the cow as animals? It's not related to naming things to animals and so on. The things here are totally different because each name has a story inside it. Names are telling stories. Words are pregnant with connotations and meanings. Al-Baqarah is the title of the Al-Baqarah or the cow. Cow or Baqarah in Arabic is the title of the surah, refers to an argument. There was an argument between Moses and Israelites over a cow they should sacrifice in order to make known the murder of the slain man. There was a dead person and there was an argument. They didn't know who killed the person. So Allah revealed to them and told them that you need to something like to kill a cow, and you take a part of that cow and you hit or that person, I mean that dead person, then he will speak the name of the killer. And Allah gives this story to show humanity that Allah will bring us into life after our death, to show people that it's true. It's not just a story, that there will be another life after the death. And here, I talked about the mistranslation. I'd like to take you another journey of mistranslation of two words just to prove that I am saying that we need to take this into consideration. I'm not sure because you're students of literature, you may be specialized in delving into details in comparison between religions, in comparison between languages, but I'd like to mention you need to take into consideration that Arabic language has its own characteristics, its own features, its own, I mean, everything, rules, and so on and so on. So when we talk about an example here, we have in Arabic from the Quran, we have وَزُيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ حُبُّ الشَّهَوَاتِ مِنَ النِّسَاءِ وَالْبَنِينِ وَالْقَنَاطِرِ الْمُقَنطَرَةِ مِنَ الذَّهَبِ وَالْفِضَّةِ وَالْخَيْلِ الْمُسَوَّمَةِ. This is in Arabic. The translation is in front of you. Adorned for people, the love is the love of the desires. These desires are women, children, gold, silver, horses, fields. If I ask any one of you, do you see this verse? Does it make sense to you? Of course, it doesn't make sense. Why? I will take two words I mentioned there. I highlight them: women and children. Why is women and children, I mean, as a word, why are there in this? What is the, I mean, why are there? What is the purpose of putting women among gold, objects, horses, fields? I mean, among objects. It's nonsense. In Arabic, I would say, in Arabic, we have a word, in Arabic, any word we have there in the Quran, any word in the Quran is there for a purpose. It is not a synonym. There is no absolute synonym in Arabic language. Okay, al-muradif, there is no absolute synonym. There is just the approximity of meanings. It's a synonym, but it's not the same. And I can say this even in English. There is no absolute synonym in languages. When I say synonym, is someone the exact as you are. For example, if I take me as Mohammed Bouknify, you can look all over the world. You will not find Mohammed Bouknify with the same background, the same thinking, the same language, the same, physical appearance, the same. And every person, there is no other version of the person. So in languages, there is a kind of words that are approximate in meaning. They are nearly to each other in meaning, but they are not the exact, the same meaning. Let's come back to the two words we have here, women and children. If I give you the word women in Arabic is an-nisa. An-nisa in Arabic means two things. It has two meanings. And unfortunately, the second meaning is not at all taken into consideration by the translator here. I am not saying that the meaning of the words because I created it. No, it's in Arabic dictionaries. If you go and check, you will find the meaning of an-nisa there, two meanings. The first meaning of an-nisa is women. And the second meaning is the updates or the latest things. And it was even mentioned as the latest things in a prophet is in Muhammad as the prophet in one of his sayings, and it was mentioned as yunsa'u lahu, as it's something that is updates. It's something that is like the latest things of anything. Okay, two meanings. An-nisa means women and means the latest things or the updates. Okay, and here, if I say the meaning of women here, it doesn't make sense. So we should drop the meaning here, number one, and we replace it with the latest things. What do we mean by the latest things? As a desire, as something we enjoy, as something we can use in our life. The latest things. I can say the Quran is timeless, of course, is universal and timeless. It wasn't sent only for Muhammad just to be, to be studied in that era. No, it's timeless. It means it is okay. It's good for every time, since the past till the future. We will find a lot of things. I am ready to give you some scientific things. If you want to talk about scientific things, scientific inventions that were invented recently. During just this century. I am going to talk to you about this inventions which were invented by a lot of people, and they exist in the Quran since 14 centuries, mentioned by Allah, but people didn't understand. Now I mentioned at the beginning, they didn't know the interpretation of, they don't know the interpretation of the Quran except Allah and those scholars. If you are a scientist or biologist, a lot of biologists, a lot of inventions in biology. Even the creation of the baby, even the creation of the story of the creation of the universe, it's mentioned in the Quran. And if you are ready to listen to this, I will be happy to give you, if not a lecture, I will just give you things that we plan to read. I will give you a book. Okay, if you want to come just to my office, you're welcome. I will give you a book in which you can find all these kinds I'm talking about. So coming back to word women. Women is not okay to be used here as a translator, because I'm talking to you. I got my master's degree as a translator and interpreter. French, Arabic, and English, 3 languages. I got my master's degree there, and I'm working on my PhD degree here, but I'm working on education, not on translation. Here, as a translator, I can see the mistake that made by these translators, which means that they may build their meanings, their translation on the old translations without even looking and checking or verifying things. Knowing in Arabic, 2 minutes. Women is not okay. So we use the update. What are the updates of the latest things? I will say, this is my understanding or my interpretation. Adornment for people is the love of the desire. If you want to enjoy your life, it's okay. For example, you can take the update. Between brackets, I'm going to explain it. The update to the latest things. You can use your laptops, your phones, your TV, anything you create, it's okay. You can use it. It's just like you see, I am mentioning the objects to go with each other. It's shame to use women and you put women next to horses, next to silver, next to fields and objects. I will say that people will say, this is rubbish. This is not translation. And Allah didn't mean this. Allah said that the Quran should be interpreted by the scholars. I mean, we need a linguist who understands the meaning of the word. Word number one, we can say the update. And we talk about the update things that human being invented. It's okay. The second word is children. Children, which is its equivalent in Arabic, is banin. And it's not true because banin has two meanings. Banin, we talk about the children, and we talk about buildings. Banin, bina'at, binayat, banin. You derive the word, you give the second meaning. So if you don't know these things, I am so sure that you will misinterpret the meaning Allah mentions. So we will give a wrong idea about the Quran. So here I'm talking seriously that the word children has nothing to do. Again, it's just the same as women. We should replace it with buildings. And Allah knows that, and He knew that in the future that people will have houses, buildings, villas, and so on. You can enjoy your life. In this verse, what does it mean? This verse, Allah said that you can enjoy your life, the love of the desire as a human being, with the latest things, the update things. Use your mobile phones, TV, newspapers, books, whatever you want, and use the buildings, villas, and house, and so on and so on. Okay, the piles of gold and silver. We use horses and so on and so on. This is what He means in this verse. It is not what is translated there, because anyone, I am so sure, any scholar, anyone who understands languages will just recognize the mistake, will notice the mistake there of the translation. This is what I have for you today, and I'm so sorry if I make it long for you. I hope that I could just make things very easy, or at least I make some words or some things that easy for you.
That was definitely very insightful. So I learned quite a bit from your presentation. So
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot.
Thank you. And I'm saying this again, please just arrive to my office. It's the first floor, Arabic instructor, knock on my door, tell me what you need to know about Arabic. I can just make it for you there, because I'm not saying this just to give you, I want you to, because you are literature students, you need to know a little bit about Arab civilizations, Islam and Islamic countries. How do Arab people think? I can give you books about the Arab thoughts, about culture, about Islam. If you want to know the inventions, as I mentioned, I can just discuss with you there. Just arrive there. You're always welcome.
I have a couple of questions for you, Mohammed.
Yeah, well, for sure.
Maybe some students have questions as well. You was talking a lot about translation.
Yeah,
I was curious to know what you thought about the translation in this textbook that that you looked over. Like, how did the editor of this textbook that put these parts of the Quran in, how do you feel like they did?
Okay, about translation, because I had 2 years of translation and I know the techniques of translations. But when it comes to the Holy Quran, the book we have here, it's not easy to delve into it because it's something that is sacred for Arab people. It is, believe me, it is taken it's taken as for granted, no questions about it. If you delve into it, they may attack you because you are telling something that is not, for example, true for them, they think. But when you make things clear to them, for example, you talk about terminology, You talk about the question of women. What made me search on in translation of the Quran here is the question of women in Islam. Question of women in Islam. A lot of people give wrong ideas about Islam in terms of women. They deprived women from the inheritance. They give the double portion for the boy and the half for the girl. Till nowadays, a lot of issues related to the women's life. Women's in clothes, scarf, and so on. I had some conferences there in Morocco, and I was talking about the women's in Islam, and I mentioned something like rereading Islam. We reread it, because what is given us there, not the Quran, the translation or the interpretation exactly of the Quran was totally different from what we have. And we cannot say that Allah says this, because we talk about life in the past. Believe me, imagine that life 14 centuries before in comparison with now. I am so sure and certain if the Prophet Muhammad is living nowadays in our age now, I am 100% that he will be fan of Nike, Adidas, and this brand things. It's not only about jilaba. It's not the right interpretation. Since it is not mentioned in the Quran that your kind of clothing should be this, it was just the I would say in this, it was just the style of life of a group of people during that age. They want to make it a part of the Quran, which is not in our book. It's not in the Quran at all. So they make it, this is the right clothing for women. It's the right clothing for men. I was in Morocco, and I was like, when I was young, I didn't used to have beard. I used to shave, and you can imagine that some people refused to greet me because I didn't have a beard, and so it was strange. But when you explain to people things, you can just feel sorry for them because they took things in a wrong way from the past. So what made me delve into translation, I am working on, in my PhD, I'm working nowadays on pragmatic approach in teaching in English. So pragmatics, of course, is the second meaning, is how to read between lines and so on and so on. I had some presentations in Morocco about pragmatic study of the Holy Quran, and I worked on terminologies or words. What I mean by the word women, it has another pragmatic meaning. Let's not stop on the linguistic meaning. So this is the start. This is how I start working on translation. So a lot of things relate to this, and I read for some Arab scholars in this vein about the interpretation of the Quran or the new reading or rereading of the Quran. And I appreciate their work, and if you want to know about them, I can just refer to you to these examples if you want to read more. Yeah.
Yeah. This question I think might help the whole class, Mohammed.
Thank you.
Explain to us the role of Jesus in Islam. I think that would be helpful, because you mentioned that he's a prophet. Of course, Muhammad is the last prophet.
Yeah.
So I know that Jesus definitely has a large part in Islam. So
not only in Islam, it's there in the Quran. The Holy Quran is something like the constitution of Muslim people. And in the Quran, Jesus is a very, very essential part of the Quran. And no one deny this, because If you open the Holy Quran, you will find a lot of units talking about Jesus and his stories and his messages and everything he made there. It doesn't mean that Muhammad was the prophet. What people say nowadays, they thought that Muhammad means the last one. It means that we don't believe in others. No, I mentioned these things from the beginning. Islam and Iman. You know what I mentioned? I mean the pillars of Iman, of the pillars of the followers of Muhammad. To be a follower of Muhammad, you should. It's a must there. You must believe. One of the pillars to believe in Muhammad and all the other prophets. And mentioning in other verses, you can mention, they mentioned in the Quran, exactly we have Moses and Joseph there. So they are always there. And when we talk about Jesus, we do believe in Jesus. If we don't believe in Jesus, believe me, we are not. If someone say that he doesn't believe in Jesus, he is not a believer in Muhammad. And this is not my word, this is Allah's word. If you want to believe, if you want to be a believer of Muhammad, go first believe in other prophets and messengers. So this is how things are in the Quran. And if you need the examples about this, just go back to the verses I have in the presentation here. It means about it, what I mean by the believers of Muhammad or the followers of Muhammad, or how they are like to be. If you want to be a believer, you should believe in Jesus, Moses, and other prophets.
Yeah, that's I think is one of the biggest differences between Islam and Christianity. Is like in Christianity you have you have God who is in three persons, right? The Father, the Son, and the Spirit. In Islam, it's just God. It's one God. It's not a triune God. It's one God, right? And it's the same God that goes all the way back to Abraham and Adam, right?
Yeah. The way I mentioned from the beginning, I mentioned that God, prophets or messengers from Adam till Muhammad, their message. I'm saying this from the Quran because I'm not saying from the Bible or other books. I'm saying from the Quran, from the Prophet Adam till Muhammad. The main message of this prophet was three things. You believe in Allah, in one God. You see, this is the difference between Christianity and Islam. In Islam, we can have three things there, as you mentioned there, but in Islam, we have only one. But for Islam, they say that to be a Muslim from Adam till Muhammad, you need to believe in one God, nothing else. Okay, and here we mentioned three things: believe in Allah, believe in the last day, and you do the right things, the right deeds. So the only difference here for Christianity or for the followers of Jesus, they believe in three things. It's three things there. And here in Islam, we have one thing to believe in. And when we, as a scholar, as a researcher, you can take it or leave it from me. I will be honest with you. I am not taking into consideration these differences at all. Why? As I mentioned there, I am calling for a religion that takes into consideration humanity. I am talking about a human being here. You believe in whatever you believe. It should be reflected on earth, on the ground, that we are a human. We listen to each other, we respect each other, we coexist with each other, we love each other. And that's why I had that hellish view about those who attack, 9/11 attacked America before. And they were considered, because if you delve into details, they said they were from Saudi Arabia and they were Arabs, and they don't represent Arab at all or Muslims. Because what I want here, be it American, Moroccan, Arabian, French, Germany, from German, wherever you are, we need to have in common something that is humanity. This is the religion we are calling for. And when we talk about the details, no, you believe in Muhammad, I believe in Jesus, and we have that quarrel and argument. This is okay. This is nonsense. This is not correct. This is not how. This is not what we want. We want from humanity. We want people to to respect each other, coexist with each other, and even I can swear that from my perspective, even the borders we have nowadays, they were made by human beings. It's okay. As I see it, I live in America here with my dignity, with my freedom, with, very happy, enjoying my life. And the same thing I want for American people. If they go to the Middle East, if they go to Africa, if they go or to Europe, wherever they go, I want them to feel the same thing, to be free, to express themselves, to have their rituals, to have their own culture, and we respect the things, we coexist with these things. But what you mentioned here is that Christianity is three things and Islam is one. I can say that there are some people, I can consider them very, very extremist. They think they are the holders of the truth, the bearers of the torch of the truth. They neglect others, they ignore others, which is not of what I believe. I believe in one nation, one citizenship all over the world, and it should be there as human being, humanity. And this is my message wherever I go. In Morocco, before I came here to America, I had a lot of people from America. I used to host them there in Morocco, provide them shelters to live, to live with my family, to eat with my family. They loved things, and this was the start of embracing or enjoying life. Coexisting with other people, and even believe me, even that kind of rebellion against the taboos, against those extremists who believe that they are the holders of the truth. I'm sorry because I talk a lot. Just bear me. This is me. I talk a lot.
Yeah, I saw Kaylee smile when you talked about how you notice people around here always say, "Hey, how are you? Good morning."
Yes.
Yeah, that's definitely West Virginia. Like we have that sort of hospitality in this particular
Wow.
state.
Just here in West Virginia.
Yeah,
It's an Appalachian thing.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. If you go to other states, people aren't like that.
You can imagine that I was talking to my family there, and because they sent me something from Morocco via the post, and they put it here just next the door. And when I was in the campus, I arrived at the door. I find my things there, some clothes and some stuff there, and I was surprised. Wow, my things here are not stolen. No one take no one to take your property from here. And I know that there is no camera, nothing here. I was surprised. This is number one. Number two, when I meet people, I was just because I thought this is a stereotype. They say that I had this kind of stereotypes when I was there. I heard these things. People don't help each other. They don't care about you. Okay, but here they care. Believe me, they care. They help. They ask, "Are you fine?" I receive a lot of questions. How are you doing? How are your classes? Did you engage here? How did you engage with your the society here? Did you like it here? What did you like here? People are caring about you. They want you to they feel that as if they want you to be a part of them. This is what I love about here Bluefield and West Virginia. Okay. Last week I was talking to prophets, right? I'm sorry because I couldn't remember their names. When I greet people, as you see, when I greet people with shaking hands or just saying hi, I always take my right hand and put it on my heart. And this is used there in Morocco. We use this kind of greeting. It means this way. It means it comes from the heart. And I use it here in Bluefield University, in our campus. I use it, and I was stopped by a lot of people, some students and some professors. Excuse me, why do you take your hand here? Why do you use this? I didn't explain to you. I'm so sorry. It means this greeting from my heart, and they appreciate it. You see, this is how culture goes. People here are ready to help. They care. They can they share, and they share with me things. They arrived at my office. I love things here. I am so sorry because I will have just 1 year here in Bluefield, and one of my dreams, I mean one of my plans, I will come back to live here when I finish my my PhD. Thank you.
Yeah, you have family back home in Morocco. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah. So hope, yeah, that would be wonderful if you could come back. And
I have it as a plan. I'm thinking of this. When I finish, I can apply for other, I mean, to work here, either as Arabic teacher, translator, interpreter. Okay, there are things that I can do here. And if they accept my applications, number one, I mean, option number one is to come here.
well, what questions do you guys have for Mohammed or comments?
Welcome, guys. I want to hear you.
I wanted to ask if it is because of the importance of parents is that how it says that rather than addressing the person, you address them like if you were addressing Muhammad, it would be father of Muhammad. Is that correct? And is it because of the importance of parents?
I mean, for Islam, why do we insist on the importance of parents? Sorry, because I didn't mean exactly.
No, like for the language. For the
Yeah.
language, it said if you were addressing the person, it would be father of.
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah.
Is it because of the importance of parents?
Thank you so much, because this is new to our language too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You know why? A lot of people, for example, I have a daughter. Her name is Roshan. Some people call me Abu Roshan, father of Roshan. And for my wife, they call her Roshan, mother of Roshan. You see, they want to include it as you mentioned, the importance of parent, and they want just to give you another name, but it's just used on the street. You see, Abu Muhammad or Muhammad, mother of Muhammad or father of Muhammad. This is new to our culture. I am just experiencing these things. I didn't used to do this with my parents. I used just to call them dad and mom, and this is new. Believe me, it's new. I'm sorry again to ask, where did you hear this thing, this naming?
I watched it on a video that Dr. Yeager posted for us.
Yes, it is true.
It said that you read it from right to left, and it tried to explain how to enunciate it a little bit.
Yeah.
It was interesting.
Okay. Try to spare some time and come. I mean, just to come to my office. I mean, just to show some things about Arabic, how to write from the right to the left. I mean, these things about, if you want to know even about what I mentioned before, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Well, what do some of the rest of you guys think? What other questions do you guys have? I tried to ask the question about how Islam relates to Christianity to kind of ground you guys.
What's a common misconceptions about it?
If you have anything about Islam, just share it with me, because I want to know, because some people, they may have some wrong ideas about Islam. If you have anything just to mention it, if you have a question, welcome. If you want to share something, a story or anything about Islam, I am all ears.
Bella, what was you going to ask?
What's some common misconceptions about Islam? because I was raised in a Christian church and we sort of touched on other religions like Islam and stuff, but they mainly painted them in a bad light, and I didn't really like that all that much. And I was wondering what some common misconceptions that someone who doesn't follow Islam probably has.
No, this is why I was just telling you about. Islam is not about what is just, I mean, said right now. The people, they say some things and they relate them to Islam. Okay. For Islam, as I said, for Islam, these are the pillars we have Islam. To be a Muslim, as I mentioned here, you should believe in all the prophets before Muhammad. You should believe in Muhammad. You should believe in Allah. You have some rituals. We have salat, which is prayers, alms, giving alms, helping poor people, which is alms, and pilgrimage. These, if you can, if you have money. So these are the 5 pillars. And no one forces you to follow this or this. If you want to be a part of Islam, this is it. If you want to enjoy life, with Muslim people, all the taboos I mentioned there and the things I shared with you in the presentation, they are the central or the heart of Islam. This is the heart of Islam. Because I am so sorry to say this, even some scholars, Islam scholars, when they show up, they show up on TV channels, sharing things, just threatening people. You must do this, and changing the tone of their voice, threatening people that if you don't do this, you will go to hell, you will go to this, you will this. Okay, this is absolutely not true in our Islam. Islam is very, very simple. It's just as you see there, 5 pillars. To do them, you respect the others' properties, you don't blame them, you don't hurt them, you don't do wrong. And this is Islam. Very simple one. It's not about doing this or forcing people doing this. I'm so sorry because I myself heard these things, and I always hear these things about Islam. People just keep away from Islam because they thought and they had this kind of ideas that Islam is something that is, let's say, violence. We can talk about it encourages violence and so on and so on. It does not. Okay, as I mentioned before, even for women situations in Islam, it's totally different from what is said right now. Okay, so we need more people to reread and to make things easy for people and to explain we need people to explain Christianity. We need people to explain Islam to people. It's not to make people away from what is the truth. Okay, the truth, it is the simplicity of the religion. If you take into consideration all Islam as a religion, it's all about human values. It's about humanity at all. The relationship between even Allah. I will give you a very good example from the Quran. Even Allah says that He is ready to forgive everything you do, you did, you will do, if you want to come back to Islam, if you want to believe in Allah. He will forgive everything, but He will never ever forgive things that you do to other people. He will forgive you if you, for example, if you don't pray, if you don't believe in Allah, if you were, for example, drinking. If you, for example, do something that is between you and Allah, between you and God, will be forgiven. But if you do something to other human, believe me, you will never get that kind of forgiveness from Allah, except if you take it from that person, then welcome. This is how Islam. This is how Islam works.
Yeah, that's one thing that I was really struck by with your presentation, Mohammed, was you talked about how the prophets said that He's here to reform human ethics. And I think a lot of the things that you said were definitely ethics that are universal. These are ethics that we can that everyone can relate to.
we
and how
we
bad-
we cannot live without those ifs. This is humanity exactly. When I mentioned before, I told you that I am calling for a humanity religion. I am talking about ethics. We are really nowadays in need to collaborating with each other, listening to each other. You cannot imagine that listening to each other is a very, very valuable thing we can do. To listen to you, I mean, to everyone's sufferings, problems, words, encourage people, help people. I mean, not to be hypocrite people. I mean, double-faced or multi-faced people. I give you one word, and I think other way, and they go other way. You see, this is humanity in the essence. I mean, in the heart. This is what we need. I can say this, and I always say this, be it Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, or wherever you are, Jewish, I want people to be armed and equipped with these values. As a human being, I always say this, we are here on this earth to live the maximum 80 years, 90, 100 years. We need to devote our life to do good things for each other. Why cheating each other? Why lying to each other? Why, I mean, doing bad things to each other? This is humanity. This is the religion we are, be it Islam, Christianity, Jewish, I mean, Judaism, Buddhism. We need to have in common the most important thing is a human being. And we take it into consideration. All the values should be there. At the end, everyone will leave this earth and you will leave it, and you will leave behind what you did. If you do good, you will find good. If you do bad things, you will be recalled just as a bad person. Yes.
What other questions you guys have for Mohammed?
I don't have a question, but I did want to say that I really enjoyed listening about this topic from someone who is really like familiar with it. That it was really good to listen to.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate this. Believe me, when you're professor, and thank you so much for this opportunity, Mr. Jeffrey, because I felt very, very honored and very, very happy to be a part of you. At least, as I said, at least we are, as human beings, we are working to the same ends. We need people, I mean, to be armed with good values. We need to spread this kind of values, be it Muslim or whatever your religion. We are not here nowadays, the 21st century, hating each other because of some ideologies or I mean, some thoughts. So let's stop and think. Let's stop for a moment and think about it. We are human being. We are run out of, I mean, of time. We don't have that enough time to be here, I mean, forever. Okay, as I said, that we'll have 60, 70, 80, or 100 years, but let's make it for ourselves, for humanity, help each other, listen to each other, love each other. This is my dream. Believe me, I am saying this from the bottom of my heart. You don't know me and I don't know you. We are just in a live meeting. I appreciate this, and I am saying this from the bottom of my heart. And I always say this to whoever I met, be it from Morocco or from elsewhere. This is my message. I love to see this kind of humanity of people helping each other, this sense of solidarity. Listen to each other. A lot of people need just our listening. They need nothing. They need just you there. They give you their ideas, speaking to you, telling you they need someone with effective listening. This is why they need a lot of people. Unfortunately, we are in this age, people just working on social media networks, doing okay. I mean, doing something as you. I'm not going to tell you something that is new. You all know these things, trivial things on social media. People think about prophets. So they make people, they make humanity absent, and unfortunately, it's not good for humanity. Or everyone thinks about himself, thinks about profits, thinks about profiting, benefiting, thinks about privileges, and we forget the essence of why are we on this earth. We are here for each other, to listen to each other, help each other.
And we all have the same values and stuff, and it says to love your neighbor, and it is, people are selfish, and I think it's interesting that sarcasm is not allowed, because that will help you to go along with being good to your people, to everybody, and without sarcasm. And also because if you weren't allowed to be forgiven for something that you did to somebody else, it would it would make humanity better if everybody lived that way, and
Yes,
thought that they weren't allowed to be forgiven by the way that they treat others. Then it would make for a much better life.
100% I agree with you. This is what we need. As you mentioned, sarcasm and mockery. This is why we live. Or bullying. Can't you imagine that a lot of people are prevented from, to complete their studies or to go to school because of bad peers, bad friends. Their friends, they neglect the person, he or she, out of this circle, and just doing things or naming things, threatening this person. It's a serious problem. This is just one example of this social problems we have nowadays. Okay, we always try to raise human being awareness of the dangers of this, of these social problems, and we cannot do it alone. And as you see nowadays, we have an attack, a very, very harsh attack on social ethics. I am speaking this, and I think it's the same thing here in America. A very, very fierce attack on ethics. And what we need a counter attack. This counter attack, as you mentioned, it starts from the family, from your neighbors. A lot of people want to spread triviality. They encourage triviality, even mass media, encouraging trivial things. And this does harm to humanity. We need to enlarge our circle too. We are now here 10 people. Why not to spread this with our friends? We need to change our thinking, the way of thinking, the way we see people. We need to value each other. We need to love each other, to help each other. And we enlarge this circle so as at least to equalize, the equation with the bad things, that the triviality we have nowadays. At least we make it equal, because we are now, how can you imagine your kids, how are you going to bring up your kids in this kind of social problems? This kind of ethics we have nowadays. Trivialities on TikTok, trivialities on Instagram, trivialities wherever you turn your head, you will find trivialities. So how are you going to bring up your children here? Where are the morals? I'm sorry, because I'm trying to keep on working on the same presentation, but some things that we talk about morals and ethics, just let me share with you things that I know that this kind, and Professor, this kind of trivialities that are spread all over the world. It's not only in Morocco or in America.
Yeah, to say the least, right? Like it's everywhere. Mass media has made trivialities everywhere.
Yeah, true. This is the bit. The bitter truth. Something that's. I'm thinking about the next generations. What will be like? Don't know. Something like more worse than what we have At least I see. That why I mentioned before when I arrived here. At least here in the campus, in the campus or in Bluefield in Virginia, I still I felt very happy. You cannot imagine why, because maybe I don't know. Maybe I arrived the first day here. Imagine the first day, my neighbors here and here. It's a very small city. I have neighbors from the right and from the left in front of me. You cannot imagine people just saluting me every morning. And I still remember, I appreciate it that my neighbors just stood to my door. Hi, how are you? Where are you from? What do you do? If you need anything, just let us know. If you need a ride to go to Walmart or to a supermarket, just say it. I was just a specialist. I love this, the way that people, believe me, when I go home, I will keep this in my mind as West Virginia. People there are super generous, just amazing. Whatever people say, I will keep this in mind because it's very touching, believe me. When you leave your country, your culture, your family behind, and you arrive and you find people just open their arms, welcoming you, respecting you, they are there for you. Whenever you need any help, that's just amazing.
Well, we're definitely delighted to have you, Mohammed. Like we're
Thank
both
you.
we're both new to Bluefield, so
And I'm so lucky because as you mentioned, I know this kind of some people. I mean, some of my friends, Arabic teachers, teach in New York, in Washington. They don't have the same stories. Believe me, they always say maybe you are very lucky. At the beginning of the month, I told them that the campus hired a driver only for me, just to discover the city. And it's true. She is there, and Mr. Jamie is very thankful, very thankful for his, I mean, for this initiative. He hired a driver, and he made it there. She gave me her phone. She told me that whenever you want to go to discover things, to do the groceries, to do shopping, whatever you want, just let me know. And it's just amazing. Yeah.
Steve, I saw you unmute a second ago. Did you have a question or a comment?
No, I was just going to tell you that it was very heartwarming to hear his stories and him teaching us about his Christianity or whatever you call his stuff. I enjoyed it. It was touching.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I love talking to you too. I love this session. Thank you, Professor.
Welcome. I'm honored that you would come speak to us. So thank you.
Yeah, I am too. I
Thank
really
you.
enjoyed it.
You're welcome. And whenever
was
you
really
need, just
fun.
okay, we will talk about this. If we have time, if you have, I mean, if we have time to talk about other topics, I mean, the second semester, I will be very delighted to do.
Thank you.
We've been looking forward to it, and it was a lot more clear with you explaining it to us than just reading, so it was
It
really
was.
nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
honestly, because I knew
Yeah.
barely anything about Islam.
I didn't either.
Okay,
And it's
that's
really the
amazing.
same.
I appreciate this.
I
And
kind
if
of
you
thought
have
the
a chance,
opposite of what we thought.
Yeah, for sure. Whenever you need, just arrive there. We will discuss things. I will share with you books. Even for the professor, I will just bring you some books if you want to read about. I will bring some PDF to you with translation, of course, not in Arabic. If you want to understand more, you're welcome.
if you have a chance to go and see the New River Gorge Bridge while you're here, it's not too far from Bluefield. That would be a nice view. It's beautiful.
If you want to, I mean, to show me, I mean, any place here, just please arrive to my office because I know something that I know here are very limited. I want to discover things. As I mentioned at the beginning of the session, I made it the morning from the campus till Walmart on my foot. I want just in the kind of the road, seeing things, enjoying the greening, Okay, stopping, sitting down, taking pictures from here and there alone. That was just amazing. I want to see things. I want to discover things. If you have any plans, any ideas, just let me know.
One weekend, Mohammed, I should take you on a little road trip and take you to some.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I will go with you for sure. For sure.
We have I live in Beckley. There is a mosque in Beckley, so that's something that you've probably been missing.
I went to the mosque on the first Friday I came here. Driver took me to the mosque, but I don't know the name exactly. I was there. I met some people from Arab regions, from Pakistan, from India, from Jordan. So I did my prayers there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely should take you to some
from my
sites.
part, I will say that I will invite you when I am planning to have a cultural day with my students. I will invite you. Just keep the names of the students who attended the session. I will invite them to have a look at my, to present, because I'm going to present something about Moroccan culture, to be a part of this. I will make Moroccan tea. I will show you Moroccan tea and some pastries or some Moroccan food. I will be happy to share with you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, guys, the last 2 weeks you have gotten the spiel on Christianity from me, and you've learned about Islam and Muhammad. So you guys learned a lot about religions the last 2 weeks. So the time period we're in is now the Middle Ages. This was the time period of Christianity and Islam. There was unfortunately lots of wars, the Crusades, for instance. I think we're kind of seeing that people would actually sit down and talk, maybe none of that would have happened. So, right?
Yeah.
So,
For the presentation, I will share it with you. I will send it to you if you want to share with your students, of course. And for the books and the references, anything you need relate to Islam and you want to know about things, anything that that can come to your mind, just share with me. Tell me, I will share it with you.
thank you. Let me make sure that I have everyone down who's here. Someone was here and left. I don't know. Did any of you guys catch who that was?
Amanda Webb.
Amanda Webb. Okay, I'll write her down. I think I have everybody. So you guys at this point have submitted your papers to me, so I should have those by now. And other than that,
That's to say, is it okay if we like skip that one? Because I decided to skip on that one because I had a little bit too much to do at the time.
yeah, you can do the next two instead.
Okay. I was just wondering because I know I really wanted to do the one on Paradise Lost.
Yeah, you
But I don't really mind to do the one on Madame Bovary too, because I'll have like a whole book as a source.
yeah, you can skip this one if you choose.
Okay.
So next week's reading is Dante's Divine Comedy. So the Inferno section. So books.
I'm about to say, would it be okay if I actually use my copy of it for that?
Yeah, should
because I bought a copy of it off Amazon when I was reading it.
Should be fine. We're only going to read a little chunk of it. I'm not going to have you read the whole thing. That's a lot of reading. So I'm going to have you read a little chunk of it. It's on the syllabus what chunk you're supposed to read. So wonderful session. Thank you, everybody. I will see everybody soon.
Thank you so much.
And thank you, Mohammed.
Thank
you
you
so much. Have a nice day.
Yeah,
It's
thank
not the
you.
day, it's the
Thank
night.
you. You
Okay.
too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Enjoy your time.
Good luck.
Bye.
Have a good evening, everybody.
Bye,
You
guys.
too.
You too.
It was
Thank
nice
you.
to meet you.
Bye, everybody.
I hope you don't mind. I'll start to borrow